This is going to be a cow related video, so for those of you that have no interest in cattle whatsoever, you should probably exit now. For the rest of you that are still watching, we're gonna try something out. That's what this jug of sugary goodness is. I've done this in the past, but I figure I might as well at least explain to you guys a little bit of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So I'm feeding my cows some less than ideal feed right now, just because it's lower quality. It's second cut, new seeding from last year that has a bunch of corn residue in it, which, because of the fact that it was no-tilled seeding that last spring, that we then hit with the rhino rake, which I actually prefer about it. The fact that it's got the sweeping action with those wheels, it sweeps the field up and gets all the fines and any of that loose hay material that you're looking for. But the thing is, then you start grabbing some of that corn residue into your hay that you would typically not want. So the reason I have that is because I went over to the feed store yesterday and I picked up a bunch of lime and just random stuff that we need around here. And I thought back to a few years ago now, where I used to put this stuff onto my hay bales back then. And the reason I would do it, pertaining back to the old crummy looking hay bales, is if you put this molasses stuff on it, which it's not, it's actually called, let me just read through this real quick. It's mill flow. And what its guaranteed analysis says, it's got a minimum of 4% of crude protein, minimum of 3% crude fat, maximum of 0.1% crude fiber. Okay, then phosphorus, 0.38%, salt and salt, minimum of 1.8 and a maximum of 2.3% of salt. Total sugars, 28% minimum. Maximum percent moisture is 38% and a minimum of 62% of dry matter. List of ingredients from cane molasses, condensed fermented corn extracts, extractives, condensed whey, vegetable oil, refinery lipid with, I'm not even going to begin to try to spell that one out. Salt, sulfuric acid, phosphoric acid, which I thought was kind of funny, caramel flavoring, propionic acid, acetic acid, and benzoic acid as preservatives. Feeding directions for use in manufacturing of animal feed products for livestock and poultry. The application rate should range from 3%, 60 pounds per ton, to 10%, 200 pounds per ton, depending on amount of meal or fines and final product. Now, the reason that I would put this stuff onto a round bale, you'll guys see at the end of the video how I'm gonna do it. What it does is that the cows go crazy for that stuff. So if you put it on some less than ideal bales, the cows are more apt to dig through it and chew through it and preferably utilize more of the feed that you're giving them. And why don't I just grab this and head out right now? The cows were a little upset because I'd already taken the skid steer out and they thought they were getting a bale. Joke's on them. They'll like me in the end though, because I'm going to go ahead and actually open the gate up. They've been locked out of the pasture for about a week. Sounds kind of cruel, right? No, not really. They're getting all the feed that they need. They're still getting some fodder bales. Well, they're getting a fodder bale and a hay bale every time they get fed. But then the grass pasture really isn't that big for the amount of cattle that we have out here, so they grub it down really bad to the point where I have to worry about them pushing on the fences. Well, that's not good. The fences are pretty well new around this pasture, and I don't want the cows breaking through them. It's not so bad when it's in the fall, the spring, or the winter, because there isn't any fresh grass growing. Hold on here. Needs a better handle. Slipping out of my fingers. And this is just over 50 pounds in this jug. I don't really know how much this stuff costs. I know it's not that bad. I used to do this exact process when I had the feeder heifers, and they seem to like it. But let's go look at the cows quick. All the calves. We got a Psycho cow, calf, feeder heifer. Brian's bull. If I haven't mentioned to you yet, for the people that are asking, what am I going to do for a bull? That's your answer right there. Ryan needed to get rid of his bull for a couple months, and I needed one. So, yeah. Somebody hasn't been domesticated yet. She has a little bit of an attitude problem, but as she gets older, she probably won't get any wiser, but she's gonna come right up to me though. She's gonna be a first calf heifer. She's in here to get bred. And I figured you guys would enjoy this. They already know what's coming. And granted, no, the grass isn't super duper tall. It's a few inches. But this will actually stretch out my feed usage, which is pretty self-explanatory, right? All right. All right, let's go. The amount of rain we've gotten here lately is just ridiculous. As far as calving goes, I got a couple duds. I have 2 cows that were supposed to calve 2 weeks ago that did not. So either they did not get bred. The one either did not get bred. The other one is actually one of the cows that I bought from that bred cow sale. I really don't know what her excuse is, because she was with the group that was supposed to calve over a month ago. And you can see I got a pretty good manure pile started up back there. Ideally, I don't want to shove it out and spread it out across the pasture because I want it on the field ground. So let's keep the cows happy for a few days. They've been doing about every other day as far as needing feed. And that's gradually going to get worse here, or better. I mean, worse in that you're going through more feed, but better that you're feeding more calves, because the calves are starting to get to the point where they're going up and they are chewing through the hay too. She's just going to go full stupid on us, isn't she? This one right here, that one right there. She hasn't calved yet. She looks nice. They're going to all be run through the chute here later on this fall. Somebody needs to get her act together, because that's just ridiculous. So this is what the hay looks like. Plenty of weeds, plenty of corn residue. I mean, actually didn't look that bad. But the point of me putting this liquid on, the more apt to go through and chase after the sugars and may chew up more of this feed. Granted, there's less than 10% of a bale here, I'd guess, maybe more. But it allows the cows, or it improves the amount of feed the cows are actually going to go through. Less waste. But at this point, I only got like 10 of those bales left. She's either going to have to get with the program, or she's going to get some wheels put underneath her and she's going to be done. Just not in the mood for putting up with idiotic cows that are jumpy for no reason at all. She really hasn't even been worked with. She's been run through the chute and that's it. Other than that, we've been around her plenty of times between giving them salt and bucket feeding them and everything. She has no reason to be that wild. So I have a bale pushed up on its end right now. Excuse me. And all you do, you take that jug and you go around the top with it on its end like this, so I can get down through all the layers, and you spread it out on top of this bale and let it sit for XYZ amount of time. Ideally, you put enough on that you can actually see it seeping down from the top, and then when you go to move the bale, there's some of the product on the ground, so you know that it's through the whole bale. It definitely worked the last time I did it. and it's something that I want to try just to see if I still like doing it. Because I do want to say a jug is $5 to $10. Do not quote me on that because I don't know, and I didn't bother asking. I'll see it when they send me the bill. But this is the kind of feed that I'm dealing with. It's really, this is actually one of the nicer ones. But these, they were left to sit outside. Can't really do much about it. But if it gets a little bit more, with that, if I get a little bit more of the bale chewed up through the cows as opposed to having to push it up into the manure pile, compost pile, the better. So, and the thing is too, even that jug of product, I am watching my costs. It's stupid humid out if you guys haven't figured that out yet. I do watch what it costs. Everything I put in my cows, I'm putting down an Excel sheet on my computer. So even that, say $10 for that one jug, that is actually going down on my Excel sheet. So I do know what it actually took to raise these cows, and I know what they actually made me at the end of the day. And once I get past actually paying off my cattle loan, which within 5 years, and I'm actually aiming for less than 2, then I don't owe anybody for these cows when I sell the calves. So it gives me a lot more freedom to when I'm going to sell the calves and when I'm not. Original plan was to wean them off September, put them on grain for about 60 days, bunk feed them, vaccinate them, knife cut the bulls, and I would actually pull the heifers back in after they're weaned off and either dump them in here or relocate them to a different farm, so I can bring the heifers back, because I'm keeping my heifers this year at least, probably next year too, and selling the steers in November or so. But I'm actually wondering if I won't keep them until maybe the 1st of January, just from the fact that I have some that calved so late that it threw off my whole scheduling plan. So I'm going to set the camera up. This isn't going to take very long, but you guys can at least see all it takes to dump that stuff in. Last thing too, that isn't the only way through a jug to do this. The local feed store will actually come through. Low quality stuff, I know. They'll actually come through if you set up a bunch of bales in line, up in a row, up on end like this. They actually have a truck and a tank that they'll come out and they'll actually do it for you. And then they'll just deduct however much product they took out of the tank and charge you accordingly. It's great for the farmer because that way you can get a bunch treated and then stack them back inside. It's a little bit more difficult for them because it is a 2-guy operation. You need somebody to drive the truck and somebody to walk along on top of the bales and spread it out. So let's get this stuff put on so I can get on with the rest of my day.